What if the reason you're frustrated in your business isn't because you're doing too little? What if it's because you're doing too much of the wrong thing? What if you spent years trying to become someone else instead of understanding how you're actually wired? I've watched entrepreneurs burn themselves out trying to force strengths that they don't actually have. I've watched business owners hire the wrong people because they didn't understand what motivated them. And I've watched leaders struggle because they were operating outside their natural gifting. Today's guest believes the answers may already be inside of you. You just haven't identified them yet. And once you do, everything from leadership to hiring to business growth starts making a lot more sense. Welcome back to the eForge podcast, where overwhelmed operators become empowered leaders, where we forge businesses, influence, and legacies that last. I'm your host, Cory Long. Today, we're diving into something that affects every entrepreneur, every leader, every spouse, every team member, and every business owner: understanding how you're wired. My guest today is Karen Hite, co-founder of Scale with Stability and creator of the new What's My Gift assessment. Karen has spent years helping leaders understand their natural gifts, motivations, strengths, how those gifts show up in leadership, business, communication, and relationship. Because here's the truth: most entrepreneurs don't fail because they lack effort. They struggle because they don't fully understand themselves. Today, we're talking about gifting, leadership, hiring, team dynamics, personal growth, why understanding your gifts may be one of the highest ROI investments that you can make in yourself, in your business. Please welcome Karen Hite to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on today.
I am super excited. I'm so glad we finally made it to
Yes.
have a conversation, although you and JC have been talking for forever. And cannot wait for this chat.
This is good. I'm excited. I went through your test the other day and found out some things about myself. And as I was going through that, it just made me really think about how, we've done spiritual tests. Like, I started with Myers-Briggs back in the day, and we used to do spiritual gifting tests with our youth ministry, and I'd test the parents and I'd do all that stuff. And as entrepreneurs, I don't know that we really I don't know that I've ever seen somebody take this angle of spiritual gifting from an entrepreneur. So talk to us a little bit about, like, how did this come about? Why did you start doing this? Why did you put it together?
Like anything, I think in business, for an entrepreneur, it starts with, I had this moment in my life and I failed at this, or I succeeded at this. And I feel like for me, it was very, very much a personal journey that turned into something that I just wondered if somebody else was feeling the same thing. And for me, it was actually, you would think like I would start this conversation of like gifting early in the business when we were first getting started. But weirdly enough, for me, it was until we were like deep into the business. I think I've been sharing openly on social media about our own journey with our business and how we dealt with depression and anxiety through some of the biggest highs in the business, just to realize that that wasn't actually fulfilling. That one goal that we had set.
Been there.
I feel like every business owner is like, yeah, actually. But it's the reality. And I think in many ways, it's not our fault, right? Like, it's just the world is teaching us constantly that in social media, there's so much comparison. There's a lot of like, and it doesn't come necessarily for anybody that's, from a faith background like I was. I've never like wanted to have things, but it's interesting how I think in your 30s, like maybe 20s, 30s, you're constantly seeking validation from the achievement of things, right? Like just like going and doing and just showing yourself, maybe your previous, life, like your inner child, that you can actually accomplish things. And I think in some ways that happened to us, to the point that what we felt was our mission that God had given us, I think we missed to like check in to confirm that was still the mission. Like this is like, is that still the thing that you want me to be doing, or am I taking it to another level? And for me, that journey of, JC managing the business and me being involved with that, but also navigating our personal life, dealing with anxiety and stress, I felt like I needed to step in and be the alpha wife, ready to take on, whatever was needed. And it's in many ways, I think like that was what I was supposed to do. But then after that, Cory, when I was finding myself in survival mode, after you go through like so much of survival mode in your life, you sort of like go into this mindset of like, I'm just preempting things to go wrong and I just need to prepare. So what happened, I think it was very interesting in that journey. It's like going through that and then finding myself, you know what? Not that we like got it together, but I think we got it together. But I think it was more like we were just talking. I feel like when you go through challenges and you see God acting in your life so much, you eventually just like, you have no more reasons to doubt.
Right. Right.
Okay, God is going to take care of that. Or, just like your perception of life is just completely shifts. And I think that that's what happened, to the point that I was like, if I don't have to be in the survival mode, and like, if I don't have to think about what's the worst that's going to happen, but I can just chill for a little bit and think, what if something good is going to happen out of that? It could be a positive thing happening from that change. Then I started to think about, what if I don't have to be this person that needs to show up in this energy that, I felt I was mimicking from you talked to JC, what is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Very different, right?
Very different personalities.
Very different personalities. But I felt the need to like mimic him, because he honestly, he's so good at what he does that, I just like thought I needed to be like him to be that good. If I wanted to be a business leader, this was my example. Like, I was living and breathing this example, with. And so I thought, I just had never seen that. I didn't grow up in an entrepreneur family. This was the only, so I really let myself, not in a bad way, I don't think, but that just was my environment. So when I was just out of that survival, I think I just really needed to ask myself, this is not me. And who am I if I'm not?
Yeah.
Right. I think that was the moment where I was just, I actually do not know. And I've been through that journey. I've been reading my Bible every day. That's just like, if there's one book that I would recommend to any business owner.
Right. Yes.
The Bible, right? This is like, gives you so much like peace and knowledge and wisdom and confirmation that, oh yeah, if they struggle with that so many thousands of years ago, we're still struggling with purpose. We're still struggling with, doubt and faith and all of that. It was that one day I was just like, it was one of those breaking points that people like, that defining moment that I'm just like, I cannot keep on going with this question of what am I supposed to do? Because it was actually starting to affect how I showed up. Like, I just like started doubting myself. And if you're doubting yourself as you're going into a presentation, you're doubting your value, you're doubting, what is this? Am I faking this? Or is this what I'm supposed to do? And so it was a 3-day journey that I can share more about this if you want me to, but that led me to ask myself, like, what did God decide me to do? And what is unique about myself? Like, how does God see me? Because I was reading my Bible and it said that I have a gift, and it said that I was like made to develop that gift.
That's right.
And when I asked myself that question, like, what's my gift? I was like, I have no idea. And that felt bad. That felt really sad.
I think probably most business owners probably feel that way though. Like in a sense, when you start a business, you just do everything. You're the everything. You're the person that takes the trash out. You got to go make the sales. You got to do the books. You've got to do all of the admin. You got to do the fulfillment. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is. Like, you've got to do everything. And so I think initially most of us have been kind of just thrown out there, and then we never really think about what am I really good at? What are the things that I should be doing? And I assume that you're probably seeing that across the board as you talk about this, that most entrepreneurs are going, yep, that's me. I bought 20 t-shirts already. Like,
it has been crazy. I launched this at our event, and my presentation was all about that, because I was literally going through that just a few months ago this year. And the response to that has been crazy. I've had over 700 people doing
goodness.
That event. I know. It's insane to me.
I love it.
Yeah, just going through that. But I think the most interesting thing is what I'm seeing in the back end, because I'm seeing, not the specific responses to the answers, but I'm seeing the results of these profiles. And initially I was like, I don't even need to get emails, but if you want me to send something, I created this whole blueprint. But the cool thing is, like, because I have all these people filling it out, I get to see what are the gifts that most of our business leaders are having. Yeah, the patterns that the top and then the bottom gifts. So yeah, that has been very interesting, and it
That's
pushes
something that
me.
would be super curious to like learn more about down the road whenever you have 7,000 people that have filled out or 10,000, 15, 20,000 people. That'd be super interesting to see.
Exactly. I
Very
think that,
curious.
this is a good bank amount of people filling it out, but I want to go. So that's why I was like, hey, does anybody have a
Yeah.
podcast? Like, I would love to share this to like more people, because I really want everybody to, first off, get that clarity, right? Like,
Yeah.
just because I think once you do it, you're either, yeah, that's totally me, or I've gotten responses where like, wow, that makes so much sense. I never thought that was my gift. And those people are like my favorite, because I'm like, okay, then there's opportunity here.
Yeah.
If you didn't know this
Welcome to
about
a whole new world.
exactly, welcome to that, and the light bulbs, that are coming
Yeah.
out, people like filling it out and realizing that makes so much sense, and that makes me happy to hear.
I showed up as a servant, which did not surprise me at all. Knowing I've spent 17 years in ministry, like everything that we do, the way we live our lives, we have college kids at our house all the time for ministry. And like, that's just how we kind of function. And so it didn't surprise me at all. What I've learned in my own kind of world, especially coaching entrepreneurs. I think I've had between all the different programs that I've been in as kind of a coach and that kind of thing. I'm well in probably pushing almost 6,000 students now, and seeing all these students and seeing them come through and personalities and all that, there's definitely some patterns. So when you said that, man, my spidey senses are tingling. I'm going, oh, I would be very curious to see like how does that work, because I think everybody wants to. Only so many people are wired to be entrepreneurs anyway. But I think all of us want to find, what's our lane? Where's the thing that we're the best at, and then how can we go make that become a business or fit inside the business? Because there's some people that I see trying to do businesses that don't need to be in the businesses that they're in. Totally wrong businesses.
That, or even, I want to go deeper with this, like even in our organizations, right? Like, how many people, like I actually made that post recently. We always talk in business about having the right people in the right
Yeah.
seats. We don't
Yeah.
talk about having the right people in the right seats, having the wrong
The right.
gift,
Yes.
right? Or the
Yeah.
right gift. It's just like
Yeah.
how important that is, not only for the business owner, because I feel like in many ways, we're probably one of the roles in the organization that can shift the easiest, right? Like we can always, okay, I need to hire somebody to
We're
delegate.
chameleon.
We're always
Yeah.
like, you have to know a little bit of everything. And then you also can choose to decide what path and what responsibilities, where I feel like a lot of especially our top leaders, people that have been doing their role for a long time. I mean, how many of those end up in burnout, right? Like how
Yeah.
many of those people, just because they one day realize I cannot keep doing this, even though I'm really good at this, I cannot
Yeah.
keep doing it for long. And I think, after seeing so much of like the results happening and conversations that I'm having, I am very curious to see if we can have a full gift profile for any organization, right? Could they assign, roles, or could they create a growth path for their teammates
I love
based
that.
on something that comes so natural to them? So that's kind of
Yeah.
like the next step, I think.
But I love that because I've ran nonprofits, I ran children's homes, and now I run businesses. And in both of those capacities, like finding people that are wired the right way makes things so much simpler. And when they love their job. Their morale's great. They don't mind going above and beyond for clients. And then you put somebody in the wrong role, even though they might have a little bit of a knack for it, it doesn't mean they need to be there. And it's fascinating to watch. I read Good to Great years ago. And so I don't know of a business owner that hasn't read Good to Great or doesn't need to read. I mean, Good to Great's a great book. And I use the bus analogy and all that, but it is interesting because a lot of times, even for myself, I have talents in some things that when I do it, it just drains me. I
That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, especially for business owners that feel burned out. It's just like you're doing all these things that, yeah, you are pushed to become a great salesperson for your
yeah,
business because of the need to push your product, to whatever, to make it happen. But that doesn't mean that that's the thing that you enjoy the most, or that
yeah,
you like recharges you. And I think in the secular, especially world, in business, it's very talk about that, right? Like do the
yeah,
things that fulfill you, like
yeah,
delegate, so that way like you're doing the things that, but there's not. a relationship. I didn't find until, I started working on this, a relationship between those business concepts and like an actual faith design, like a biblical design for your life.
Yeah.
How important that is, because we are all called to develop those gifts. It's not like,
Absolutely.
I have the gift of discernment and I'm good with that. So anytime that I have to use it, I use. No, I'm called to use that.
Yeah.
I'm called to put that in the service, right, of others. And I was just having a conversation with a friend about, just a specific team member that we are just trying to navigate what to do. And I know my discernment, my like spidey senses are like something in here. And it's my responsibility to have a difficult conversation now. It's responsibility to do that. Nobody else is going to do that for me. And anytime, and this is when I found out when I was doing my own assessment, and I found discernment was my gift. I was like, that's why I have this burden inside of me. Anytime that I see that, anytime that I feel like something needs to happen that is not happening, something needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
If I do it, I always see the end result is like prophecy. It's like, I knew this would happen, So now I've been able to create a language for this for myself. Now I'm able to take that, what I feel it's like a burden, not ignore it, because I know I have to do something about that. And I think it happens for any of the gifts.
Yeah, I want to address something you just said, because you were talking about secular, and then we kind of like flip-flopped into the spiritual world. When you think about talents and gifts, how do you see those differently? Because there's a lot of people that are super talented at things that aren't necessarily what I would call a spiritual gift. And then there are a lot of people that don't understand the spiritual gift that they do have, but could be, like you said, it could be nurtured and grow into something that's just amazing. Like, how do you see the difference in that?
I agree with what you just said, actually. Just the fact that you can always develop yourself in many ways. And you can create talents for yourself out of discipline, out of just consistently do something over and over. But I think it's the thing, if you go to the website, I think it's the thing that I put it there as a description for what a gift really is. A gift is something that you were designed with this already. It's not something you can necessarily develop for it to be there.
Yep.
It's something you go into that room, you walk in, and it's a natural thing to you. You don't even have to work on that. Should you work on that? 100% we're called to do that, right? In the Bible, but you don't even have to work on that. It's just when you go into conversations, and I think this is so funny. Marriages would probably relate a lot with this, right? When you go into a conversation with a spouse, you both see things and react to things in a very different way that is specifically designed for you, right? And I think, anytime that JC and I go into a moment in life, I know that his gift is leadership, and he will go into that. And he knows that that is not my gift. My gift is discernment. So anytime as he's leading us into whatever situation, he knows to check in on me, with me, just to, hey, what do you think about this? And I will provide to him another perspective to something that he has not even seen, right? Or he didn't even notice this. And I think those are the things that the more aware we are, imagine the same thing in a business setting, right? Like if you go into a potential, something damaging for the business, how cool would it be to know who actually has this gift? Because they might be in a leadership position, but they might not have the gift of discernment, which, by the way, is one of the bottom gifts in leaders of the way that I'm seeing it today, which
that's interesting.
That is why we need all these operations people,
Yeah, I'm not an operations guy. I'll 100% admit that. Like, I read Traction years ago. Great book, by the way. Love that whole, did a whole like retreat with our staff on it. I am definitely the vision guy. I am not the other guy. Like, I love that part. I imagine JC's the same way. Like, I am wired that way. I love it. I can cast vision. I can get people pumped. Like, that's me. But you sit down and make me build a system or a process or an SOP. I just want to go like bang my head against the wall. Like, drives me crazy. And it not just drives me crazy, but it wears me out. Like, I feel just depleted when I get done with that. I can go speak on a stage for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
Give me a couple of hours of doing an SOP and I just want to go crash. Like, it's awful. It's exhausting.
But even then, right? Like I think I would be curious, Cory, if you had to build something as a system, knowing that and the other side of that effort would be like a way to serve people, I think you
Sure.
would still go and do it.
Did it, and I've done it a million times through my like all the ministries, the children's homes. I've done it over and over and over, and I'm not bad at it. Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
good at it. I just
Yeah.
don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just a drag on me. I think that's the biggest thing because you think about anything from uh back in youth ministry, doing retreats and setting up leadership, and I got put into all kinds of roles back in the churches because they were usually 300 members or less. So I would end up being the guy that was doing the elders and the deacons retreat, and I'd do the family retreat, and I'd do this, and I'd have to build something to make all of this stuff work. And I didn't mind doing it necessarily. Like you said, as long as I could serve, I was happy on the back end. But my
Yeah.
goodness, man, I would wear me out trying to do the thing.
Oh, 100%. And that's I think just how do we go deeper into applying all of this business knowledge that we have, but
Yeah.
then connecting it to the real, at the end of the day, the real impact that we can have in this world, like the real purpose. I feel like once you have there's a lot of people in this world that are walking on earth without a clear purpose,
Sure.
right? And even if they are believers, I think that that's also a big reason why, the church and our faith, continues to, if we don't have that clarity, if we don't have that north, then it's really hard, right? To like deal with all the daily stuff that happens in
Yeah.
the world, just in our lives. And so if we can, I don't know, like my goal, I think, especially, it started selfishly, like I mentioned, for myself, and then just like wanted to share this with everybody that is feeling that they could use a little bit more confirmation on what they should do, like start with the test and see, is this something that I can apply in my business, in my role with the people that are next to me, that I can learn from other people as well, so that I can understand how they act and what their gift is. And so the more we know about ourselves and others, it just creates a better conversation and more communication.
Well, it makes you wonder too, how many times have we thought an employee wasn't good at their job, but they were just working in the gift and the way they were gifted, but it didn't fit the role there's just a lot of components that go along with that. And from a I am not, and I tell my staff this, like, I am not the manager guy. Like, dude, you talking about a role that I don't ever want. I don't ever want to be the manager guy. And yet I've been in that role a bazillion times through the years. Right.
Yeah.
But I think for me, looking at it from an employer standpoint, thinking about how people behave inside of my business, if I can identify that and nurture that and help them be the best at that they can be, oh my goodness, that it's going to help me. It's going to help our clients. It's going to help everybody in their community. It's going to help their family. Like it's going to just ripple across all of that.
I agree. I agree with that. I think, yeah, I'm curious. I think there's so much that we don't know about ourselves because we continue to lie, and to show up, in the way that we feel like we need to show up in the world. And especially in business, it happens so often. When I was doing the presentation, like at the event, my main call to action was to everybody's like, you're about to go into like this breakout sessions with like some of the best people in their space, right? Like,
Right.
And you're going to go in there, you're going to sit and you're going to think that I need to leave this room and go to do exactly what this person is doing. That same methodology, whoever this person
Just like you felt about JC.
Exactly. Just like I felt like about JC. And my hope and my call to action was for them is like, go and learn and see what it looks like for somebody to be on their gift, teaching something that they really love, right? Like, and figure out that same feeling for yourself. So I feel like that what we're trying to go after is that sense again of purpose and just like doing something and seeing somebody, when somebody is working from their gift, you're just like, wow, that person is a natural leader. That person is a natural, that's a servant, like that is, I would love to be that way. And yeah, we can develop again, talents and like even gifts. We have a full profile. That's why in the assessment, you get a full profile of your gifts instead of just like, what's your top gift? Like you see it. I also believe that depending on the season that we're in our lives, those like gifts are going to be changing a little.
Sure.
So it's funny how in the Bible it talks about the one thing, like you were designed with a gift, and it gives us so little information about.
That's true. I had never thought about that, but that's very true. It doesn't really It doesn't give much detail. It just, here's the gifts. Yeah.
There are gifts, and it talks
Yeah.
about some gifts,
Yeah.
and you use them, and you need to develop them, and you need to pair them with love.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's up to you to figure out the rest.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I guess we see characters, I always go back. I have found that I love working with college entrepreneurs. And so I've got kids inside of our ministry that we've helped launch businesses. In fact, one's coming this week he's ready to invest in a food truck, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm just having a ball helping these kids launch their business. It's been a lot of fun. And I think about, I just think about this whole process of this, because his personality and what he does and how his gifting is, and really where his gifting's at. I've watched another same age group or same age student just graduated struggle to get his business launched because it was outside of his gifting. And he figured it out early enough now that he's going, okay, maybe I need to do something a little different than what I did. So, I think that's kind of cool too, from that perspective of that this could help somebody before they get into entrepreneurship, or before they get into a job, or before they go do something. Hey, does this even fit like the way I'm built and wired and gifted?
Or what do I need to do to make it fit? Like leadership, if like your gift is discernment, well, I probably will need to have more conversations with people to understand what's happening, and I can use that gift. Like it can help me, in whatever role I'm in. So I think like just having that understanding, because before I did the assessment, funny enough, I used to think that, man, I am being so over dramatic. Like I'm just like over analyzing things.
Yeah.
This is so annoying that I need to, because I felt the need to tell JC.
Yeah.
We were just in this conversation. Do you notice how they changed their tone, in this? And he would be like, what? No. And then surely enough, something will happen. It's like, yeah. And so like,
Told you.
but I've always thought before this that, man, why do I constantly feel this need of analyze things and people? And, it's just like, you sort of like start talking to yourself like negatively sometimes about this, because you want to, I just need to go. I just need to do this. Like that doesn't, no, like I think there's beauty in like understanding this and seeing like, why is God nudging me in this way, and just talking to God, hey, help me develop this gift. Like, how can I go deeper into this? And how can this help me pivot, maybe like fixing it.
Well, you look at characters in scripture, Abraham was really the first entrepreneur that we really see in scripture. And we never present him that way, but he really was. I mean, and not only was an entrepreneur, but he was super successful entrepreneur. And we see it all through scripture. We just don't ever talk about it. And even in New Testament, I mean, Paul literally was paying for 10, 11, 12 people to travel around with him. And there are guys that estimate that he'd had to make like $1 million a year off of his little tent making business to really take care of all the people that traveled with him and did all of that. And yet when you look at how scripture presents these guys, like you said, it doesn't really talk about that, but that really is what we're talking about. I mean, it's those guys are living inside of the gift that they have in a way that creates that. So I want to make sure you guys have got a website. Walk people through this process. I know you've built all of this out, so walk them through the process of how this thing works.
Yeah, so I've tried to make it as easy as possible. This was something that I just decided to do on my own. I didn't bring my team to like help me put this all together. It really was a personal journey. So I've created a website called What's My Gift. You can go and check it out. There's going to be a button there to like start the assessment. It's going to be a few questions. So like try to separate, 10 minutes to actually do this and answer. I think this is key. Answer the questions as how you truly feel, not what you wish you would do.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, this would be the right answer because I want it to be like this person, or like it should be, no, like answer it as you truly feel the responses for you. And once you do that, you're going to get a full profile of your gifts. And so you'll be able to see which ones are the top 3, bottom 3. It's going to give you a few tips on how you can apply this in the marketplace. But then if you submit your email, then it's going to give you a full blueprint for your gift. So how do you apply that with your team members? How do you apply that to your community? How do you apply that with your clients? What are some of the shadows, of this gift as well? We
Yeah.
talk about the shadow of the gift a lot as well. If we wouldn't use love in pairing this with our gifts, what are the potential problems that you could face with relationships? I think
Yeah.
especially leaders, the gift of the gift of prophecy, that's a great gift. It can also be a very dangerous gift if you're not
Yeah.
pairing with love, because you can
Yeah.
tell people some real truth without massaging that a little bit, and it can disrupt relationships. So the goal is just getting a little bit more of understanding of how can you get better at developing that gift. What could be a north for that? It even gives you some business development opportunities as well for that gift. And again, this is not, God didn't speak to me directly
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not the Bible or anything. I think I need to make sure that people know that. But I think as you're reading through that, using discernment and praying about the responses that you get, and if this is something that, as I'm reading this, I'm actually not developing this gift, and this is something that could provide that freedom in my life because I want to just go deeper on that. I think that's the main goal with this, right?
I love it. So I've taken a lot of tests through the years. We put our staff through DISC testing, all that. And I'm one of those anomalies that apparently in the DISC world, I can pull people off I could pull the high D off the bench, like if I need to, or the C off the bench if I need to. I really live in the I and the S world. Like that's where I live. And so it's interesting because with this, I could see the same kind of thing. And we talk about a lot of times. I'll tell my mastermind students. I got this from a coach I used to work with, and she would talk all the time about sometimes we're in the game and we need to pull Shaquille O'Neal off the bench, right? Or we need to pull, Curry off the bench because we need a 3-point. Like we need a completely different personality, different skill set, different everything. We have the ability to do that. Many of us don't believe we do, but we have that ability to do that. This
Yeah.
kind of feels that same way where yeah, I'm a high servant. That's where I immediately go to. At the same time, I could pull these other gifts and use them if needed inside of whatever it is. Like you said,
Yeah.
because it's going to ripple across everything.
So hopefully we get a lot of confirmations. But for those, again, like we mentioned earlier, for those that really are surprised by this, I think that's an opportunity to learn a little bit more about yourself. This is true. How can I test that and put that in place? And, hopefully, again, it just opens more opportunities for communication, for us to know more
Yeah.
about each other. And the more we understand it, we share this with others. Hey, I have this gift. This is an opportunity for me to develop this. Now I'm not shy anymore about using my gift of discernment. Now I feel like, okay, now I need to definitely
Yeah.
use JC, especially with your husband. You have to use discernment with your husband.
Hey, it's kind of funny you say that. My wife she and I are very opposite personalities in a lot of ways. And so through the years, we would go work at a children's home. Let's say we're doing house parenting. The toughest kid in the room, like it could be the kid that's the gang member that is mad at the world and all black, just black dressed out, and they just are mad at everything. And that's who she's attracted to. Like that's immediately who she beelines to. That's the kid that she works with. That's the kid that she gets to know. Like it's fascinating. I've always watched and she's not even aware of it. I see patterns. Like one of the things in my gifting, I guess, is I see patterns in things and I always have. With her, it's fascinating to watch that. And she has discernment really well. There are times when we've taken on clients, people that we've looked at doing business with or other things. And she's like, don't trust that guy. I'm like, what do you mean don't trust that guy? And she goes, I don't know. I just know don't trust that guy. And I'm going, okay. Like I've started to learn to listen, like what she's saying. I'm like, okay, all right. I get it. Like,
Funny enough, one of the worst partnerships that we've ever had, in business.
Yeah.
I called it out.
Oh, did you really? Yeah.
But I was just like, because I didn't know this was my gift. I was always, oh, I'm overthinking this.
Now you would probably just say it up front.
Now it'd be like, no, this is not happening.
Yeah.
100%. No, but yeah, back then I remember we had a conversation and I was like, I have like real doubts with this and this is blah, blah, blah. And it turned out, and like, it's funny to go through these situations in life because then it's just God speaks to us, and in ways that we understand the best. And it's a matter if we want to listen or not. And, we just have to choose.
There's been a couple of customers that we've had through the years where Michelle's like, don't do business with them. I'm like, why? Like, we'll have this. I don't see anything. Like, I'm sitting there going, no, they seem like great people. Man, I'm ready to do like, we're ready to do this.
More of everybody.
And she's over here going, don't do it. Don't do business with them. It's going to bite you. This, da, 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 da. And I'm going, it'll be okay. And then I do business and then I get bit and then I wonder why. Like, we've had the same thing with partnerships and stuff too, where Michelle's like, I don't know that you should do that. And I do it anyway. And then it comes back to bite me. But yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah. I would imagine as you guys have kind of dug into this, and I know there's a lot more that you're going to be able to dig into over time, but as you guys have dug into this has got to be some interesting conversations in your marriage with your family and the other kind of components in your life. Because I know for Michelle and I, we complement each other extremely well. Like, there's certain things that I know when we were doing house parenting or whatever, there's certain things I took care of and there's certain things she took care of because we knew that the other person was just better at it. They had a better way of doing it. They were more discerning, or they were more leader, or they were more whatever. It has to affect that. And so I would think that would be, whether you're a business owner, whether it doesn't matter, like, go take the test. Like, it figure out where that's at, and then have your spouse take it, or your employees take it, or because really at this point, the more you can learn about them and how they are wired and what gets them motivated and how they see the world. And because we all see the world differently, we all have this storyline in our head that we make up. Like, we don't realize it, but it's all made up. Everything that we believe about this world, it's what we've created in our mind.
Yeah, it's
fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I would say, like, especially if you're working with your spouse in any way, I think like that could be really insightful. I remember early in the business, again, his gift is leadership. So I thought I need to be type of leader. We would have some conversations that were, I was just honestly trying to like step it up to be that person. And if I had known this is not my gift, and like this is actually his gift, like, let me just listen. And of course there's like, responsibilities, that we each has. And like, I'm the leader in that responsibility, but we would have saved ourselves so many like conversations that were just wasted energy, in many ways. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about clarity. One of the very first things that every coach that I've ever worked with, every mentor that I've ever worked with, that's the first thing they start with. You got to get clear. And it doesn't matter whether it's on the goal you're trying to achieve. It doesn't, like, you got to get clear. And you talked about that a lot earlier. I think that's super important for you. Is there any last thoughts that you would leave somebody with about the test, or about that? I know you want them all to go take the test. Like, you repeat the website again. What was the website again?
The website is whatsmygift.com. What's my gift? So WHATS, mygift.com. I really, would love for everybody. It just takes 10 minutes. Do it while you're in the bathroom.
It doesn't take long. I took the test. It didn't take long at all.
It doesn't take long. And I honestly really would love to get your thoughts, so I'm really active on Facebook as well, Karen Hite. So you can go and search and just send me a message. I would love to see if this is something that confirms, your gift, or what are your thoughts with that? I'm honestly wanting to get this to as many people as possible. I feel like for a reason, I went through that journey that prompted me to like figure out for myself. And I just think about the moment before I got the clarity, in the moment after, and it was just like day and night. I just like, okay, now I'm good to like continue going with my business. Just like have a north, and I want that feeling for everybody.
It'd be very interesting because in my mind, like, my very first thought was, man, it'd be interesting being in a community where people that are all wired one way talk, so that we can all go, oh yeah, that's me. Like, oh, I did that, or I messed that up, or I should have listened to that person with discernment, or I don't know, whatever it is. I guarantee you discernment is not I'm clueless half the time. Michelle's going, don't do it. This is, I don't know, whatever. And I'm thinking, whoa, whatever. I'll just go do it.
I've been thinking about actually doing that exercise in one of our events. We have one coming up in
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking, what if we played, just like in different tables, and we got the gifts before. So we sat them based on that. And then we had them go through scenarios and had to come up with like the best next step. And just hearing how,
that would be fascinating.
Wouldn't that be interesting? And then reveal, hey guys, actually we sat them based on your gift. And this is why you all agreed on this so quickly, just that. I mean, obviously there's so many components to life experience and many things that will help you respond to that. But I think it would be very interesting to see if this matches, if the responses, are completely different. And yeah, I was just be curious of that to happen. So I might test that. I might do that in the next event.
Yeah.
I'll tell.
I think it would be pretty fascinating to see, because I like attracts like. We all kind of gravitate towards people that think like us, whether we realize it or not. Like it's kind of interesting to just step back and kind of watch it, even events and that kind of thing. All of that kind of stuff. I'm a people watcher, so all that fascinates me anyway. But yeah, I think that could be super interesting, even from my stance of listening to other people, because once I see how my response would be from somebody else, I always kind of go, wait, what? That's how I would respond. Like, and then it opens my mind up to, maybe I need to look at that a little differently. Maybe I didn't need to go into business with that person or do that thing, or I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much. I think one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is trying to become someone that they're not. Somebody else's gift may look exciting. Somebody else's strength may look successful, but there's something powerful about understanding how God wired you, uniquely you. Because once you understand your gift, you stop competing and you start operating within your gift. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. What I love about this conversation is it gives people permission to stop chasing somebody else's path. To stop comparing, stop forcing, instead start understanding how they're uniquely wired to contribute, lead, build, and serve. And to our listeners, here's my challenge. Go take the assessment. Stop right now. Go take the test. Seriously, spend a few minutes, because self-awareness may be one of the most profitable investments that you ever make, not just financially, relationally, professionally, personally. And you can learn more and take the assessment at whatsmygift.com. If today's episode helped you better understand yourself or somebody you lead, do these 3 things. Subscribe to the show, make sure and drop a review, go follow Karen online to make sure that you're giving feedback. Let her know how things are going. Let her know what you find with your assessment. Guys, until next Thursday, keep forging forward, stay aligned with your calling, build with clarity, confidence, and conviction, because this is the forge where leaders are made and legacies are built.